Right, let's see how we go now. This might be better. There we go. Alright, so we're just working on getting the big field on, starting field on South Mountain cut. It's the second year of summer, and we're needing some more hay for the cows and the sheep that we've got on the farm so far. I think there might be some slight issues with the stream. Don't have the best connection in the universe. That's why I normally do recordings and upload them. But I thought tonight I'll give it a shot at least and see how it goes. It may well be that this turns out to be just not working well enough to be something that I do on a regular basis. But it was worth a shot at least, and see how it goes, basically. Oop. Go for wide turn now. Just in the top half of the field to begin with, and we're going to get on with making some bales as well. So just kind of doubled up on lines right now, and moving back up over the field. I think we should be getting a pretty decent yield out of this grass since it's been fertilized, and it's summertime now, so it wasn't quite the last growth stage, so we may have lost about 30%, but on the other hand that might improve the chances of us getting a decent second cut later on in autumn, before the weather really turns foul on us on this map. Got quite a lot of snow in the first year. For those of you who've been following the episodes, you'll have seen that we got some snow that stayed on the ground for quite a long time into spring. It seems to be fine just now. We're running the big Fent on the mowers here, and then we got a smaller 700 Fent that will be coming out and doing the tedding later on. I do apologize if the quality of doing this live streaming isn't quite up to what the videos have normally been on the channel. I'm pretty new to the whole live streaming bit, so if anybody does have tips or tricks or anything like that, you know, feel free to drop a comment. I know it's not showing as the healthiest stream in the universe. I don't live out in rural Scotland, and I don't have fibre. In fact, I just have a regular broadband connection, and so I'm not 100% sure whether it'll actually really be able to do this very effectively over the long run, but I'm gonna give it a go for at least sort of half an hour, see how we get on, whether things stabilize a bit. Pretty much done with the top half of the field, and at that point I'll probably swap over and we'll get this tedded and lined up and baled, see how much we get out of it. We're doing okay for hay at the moment, but obviously this is next year's store that we're putting in place now, and the idea was that I was gonna do a cut purely for hay bales in the early summer, and then when we move into autumn time, the second cut is gonna go pure into silage instead. But I guess we'll have to see how well we actually do on this first one to begin with. And then we'll kind of work it out from there. So I don't know if you have been watching the series I've been making on South Creamery Farm so far, but basically we're kind of into year 2 on seasons. The first year was basically spent earning money, doing a lot of logging, making $2 million to actually kind of pretend to buy the farm, and we're now into the second year where we have bought the farm. We've got a herd of 50 cattle, we've got 60 sheep on the farm, and yeah, starting to actually get into proper farming here now, which is good. And now we just got to make sure we actually got enough feed for these cattle. I would like to expand 50 cattle on South Mountain Creamery. Doesn't seem like an awful lot actually. So in many ways I'd like to be able to grow that instead of just leaving it at that. So we'll see how we get on. Obviously I'm not going to be able to cover, you know, all the way till winter, perhaps during tonight's stream or anything like that, although I will probably speed up and skip nights. We've got some more grass to cut down here in the bottom, I feel. I know you could put the grazing mod on here, but admittedly I haven't really tried it out, so I was a bit hesitant to try it out right away on this map. Instead, we're actually cutting field 42, and then we are gonna put it in and actually feed them old style, putting it into the troughs instead. So I'm just gonna jump over to the other tractor, get out and do a bit of tedding if I can find it now. Oh, there's our old Hullerman sitting. We just used that for running feed mixers by now, really. Here we go. So just gotta open this gate first. Then should be able to get out, get over to the field. So field 42 is obviously, I think on South Mountain it seems to be almost designed for using the grazing mod, because as you probably saw before, the cows are actually walking around in the field, but you still can cut it as a regular field as well if you're not using the mod. So that's what I'm doing right now. Might have to think about using grazing mod if we really grow the herd, but right now we got a decent amount of hay in store. Actually, if I just stop here, you can see we've still got quite a lot of bales sitting down here in the shed, so it's not too bad. And we need to head in through the cow field to get to field 42, so excuse me while I just jump out and whoa, open the fence here. There we go. And I suppose I better remember to close it again as well. Can't have cows escaping all over the farm. Not in the first year that we're actually running it, that would be embarrassing. I am going slightly the wrong way, sorry about that. There's a water pit, kind of a muddy water pit down here that you gotta head in through. That's sort of the main road into field 42, which is what we're doing right now. So our second tractor has also got GPS on it. The old Hullerman doesn't, but these two do. And we got a smaller fend as well. But that's mainly being used for greenhouse and sheep work right now. So right now we're just using the 700 and the 900, this type of field work. So I'll just get the GPS set up here. It's looking like a pretty wonky angle we had on this last time. Just gotta turn that around. Something along the lines, hold on, just a second. Just zero the offset as well, and something like that, looks about right. And we're making hay, nice one. So yeah, if anybody on the live stream prefers either in-cab view or out of view, let us know and I'll see what I can do. Generally speaking, I tend to play quite a lot in-cab. I find that a bit more immersive, generally speaking. As you can see, I've already veered way off the GPS line here, but that's fine for doing this first round, doing a headland. And once we get up to the other end, we'll kind of go onto a slightly straighter line. Just got to make sure it doesn't snag on the fence over here, because I've had issues with that before. We want to get close enough to catch everything as well. So there we go. Looks alright. So the only thing is, we really ought to have the cutter going as well, because there isn't much point in bringing the cutter all the way back to the farm to pick up the baler. While there's still stuff left to do in the field, but I thought it'd be nice with a change, doing a different bit of work for a little while. Apart from that, we're running generally on ×5 time compression on this map. That's how I play most of my single players, especially in seasons. It gives you a good mix between having enough time to get the work done, but also having the day actually sort of move through a bit. Occasionally go, you know, I'll occasionally speed it up, but I prefer to play at ×5 while I'm doing things, and then perhaps do a speed up for a little bit if I'm waiting for something. I know other people play on ×15. I tend to find that you run out of daytime really quickly actually when you're doing it like that. So yeah, I stick with ×5. I don't really go back down to ×1 anymore. That's just basically too slow now. But yeah, there's plenty to do on the farm. So the field over there is wheat, and we put in the ground during spring. There's 2 fields of wheat and 1 field of corn. We got a field of canola on field number 8 on South Mountain, if you're familiar with the map. And yeah, apart from that, we're really just getting on with it today. Trying to get this stuff set up. Okay, so now, theoretically at least, I'm back on the GPS track, having cleared the headland. But we'll see. I can't quite remember how it looks down at the end of the field here. Might be a few squiggles. Oh, hello, just gonna send it. How's it going? Yes, I saw you in the comments. I think it was at Virtual Farmer's stream originally, if I'm not much mistaken. How are you? So I take it you've all been watching Virtual Farmer doing his live streaming from Germany as well. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Obviously been watching a few of these FS19 live streams, trying to figure out what's all good, and what's more or less as expected. I mean, I got to say, what I've seen so far is that it looks really good. I'm mainly excited about the kind of new feature bits, like the weeds and the ability to place your livestock things. It's of course, yeah, I know a lot of people are really excited about having John Deere in the game, and I think that's cool too. But for me, it's the gameplay things that's looking like some big improvements. I'll be honest, I was hoping that we might have got seasons by default, but I also recognize that was kind of probably a long shot at the best. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a bit laggy. It's not the PC. The PC is actually running it absolutely beautifully. It's my connection. My connection is not really great at all. I live fairly rural in Scotland, and there isn't an awful lot I think I can do about it. If anybody does have experience with OBS and that kind of stuff, and have optimizing tips for running it on a lower bandwidth, anything like that, that would be much appreciated. I am not an expert on that side of things. That's why I've mainly been doing recording on my channel so far, because with live, I was aware that our local bandwidth isn't absolutely fantastic or anything like that. It's okay for streaming down, but I think the upload rate side of things is really not that great actually. So yeah, it's I recognize it's not the best in the universe at all, in fact. But is it absolutely terrible? Is it completely stuttery and basically just not worth watching? And it's okay to be honest here. I'm not precious about it, because I'm quite happy to just carry on doing the recordings. But I thought I'd try the live thing. Yeah, no, I do understand that. Live streaming is good for potential audience, but ideally it's got to be, I guess, of a decent enough quality as well, that people can actually bear watching it to begin with. So that was actually kind of my biggest concern about doing live streaming at all, was that it might actually be so choppy or so low resolution that that it simply wasn't worth watching. Whereas at least I know that when I do the recording, I can reasonably control the size, and then I can, I typically leave my videos to upload overnight. So I'll finish editing before going to bed, and then I'll just leave it overnight to do the upload to YouTube or release. Sometimes I stagger the releases a bit but yeah, it's one of those funny things, we get a lot of messages around here about fiber is here, except I live just outside a village, and as a consequence fiber is not here at all. I know that it's improved our connection because there's fiber running into the village, but at the same time it's not available to us. They won't extend it the about half a mile outside of town that I live, unless we're willing to pay to have additional work done, and it's not a small amount of money. It's not an insignificant amount of money at all. In fact, not something I can justify for wanting to do better streams alone. And we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds to do that work. Ah, cool. Forza Motorsport 7. We just got Horizon 4, which is amazing, especially if you live in Scotland, because you can go driving around Edinburgh as well, which is a lot of fun. We have Forza 6 and Horizon 4 in the house. Admittedly, I haven't gotten anywhere near Horizon 4 yet, but that's mainly because my son's hugging it on the Xbox. But it's really good fun. I had a couple of goes, of course, while he was playing as well, but I haven't really got set up myself yet. But it's good fun, yeah. I like the games a lot. I was really impressed with the graphics quality on Horizon 4, and I think 7's probably yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing this sort of with the intention of this becoming my full-time occupation. I'm really just doing it because I enjoy playing Farming Simulator a lot, and I've been really enjoying a few people's streams and channels, and I kind of like the idea of I don't know, creating something at the same time. As you know, it's really relaxing to play Farming Simulator, but I also really like making things or creating things and stuff. I used to do some 3D modeling and graphic design and stuff like that, but I also have a full-time job, and which I enjoy as well. So this is very, very much on a complete hobby level for me. It's not gonna kind of take over my life, but at the same time, when I do something, I would ideally like to be able to do it properly. But I am aware that setting up and streaming and all this kind of stuff does require quite a lot of effort in itself. So what are the connections like down in Oxfordshire? I don't know how rural you are, just gonna send it, but certainly up here it's still very split between kind of city and country, although it is getting better, to be honest. Starting to see not quite the end of the field, but getting close to the end of tedding here at least, so be able to go down and get a liner out, and then we'll get some baling done, even though it does mean swapping gear out kind of halfway through the field. But I think it would be nicer for the stream if there's a little bit of interchange rather than just sitting for the next hour and doing cutting or just tedding. Don't know how people prefer to see the view in terms of whether you prefer in cab or out of cab, but okay, 10 miles from Oxford, so I'm relatively close to Aberdeen in Scotland, which does have like city fibre, which is supposed to be very good. But they've run fibre out to the local village, which is probably about 10 miles away as well, roughly. The problem is actually just the next bit, really. So that last half mile out to our house is on plain old copper. And so they will sell you something that they call super fast broadband, which isn't fiber because they can't reach close enough to you to call it fiber. It gives you a speed boost instead. Can you not stream straight off the Xbox? I thought you were able to. Well, I obviously you can do it if you went on to, yeah, I like the Xbox streaming environment instead. But I guess if you want to do it on YouTube, I'm not 100% sure how that actually works on the Xbox. My son's been talking about doing aspects of that as well because he would like to stream some of the Forza experiences. And I haven't really looked into it in full detail yet. I was half wondering, given our connection, you wouldn't really be able to stream an amazing looking game like that in full detail. So I was more thinking about buying an external hard drive for the Xbox and then maybe actually record video down. Then we tend to use Blender to edit videos. Alright, you need a box. Okay, yeah, for YouTube. I think, am I right in saying you can stream on Twitch, I think, directly on Xbox as well? I could be wrong, to be honest. Mainly just watch on Twitch. I've done preciously little streaming on Twitch at all. Again, mainly down to quality issues and stuff like that. So I thought I'd give YouTube a bash as well. Yeah, so yeah, streaming is nice if you got really good bandwidth and fantastic upload speeds, but and all the right gear. I mean, I've seen a few live streamers and the kind of setups that they have, and that is just kind of way out of way out of my league in terms of how much I guess I'm willing to invest in it. So here we go. Yay. Just doing hay for the moment. So I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna fold it up, but I'm gonna leave it down here at the bottom of the field because we are gonna be doing a bit more either during this stream or next time I pick up the map. As you can hopefully see, hopefully the stream isn't lagging so far behind. There's a bit more grass to be cut down here at the bottom of the field, and as you can see there's cows standing in it, so we'll have to try and be gentle. But for now I'm gonna leave the tether in here, and then I'm gonna head over to the shed and we're gonna pick up the liner and we'll get it sorted. The weather forecast is good, so we don't have to concern ourselves too much about stuff getting left out in the rain just now, at least. But yeah, I guess it's annoying. I've never really thought about how you would stream Xbox from to YouTube, to be honest. I guess rather naively I had probably just assumed that you'd be able to do that. I would be surprised if there wasn't some kind of, would there not be some kind of generic streaming app for Xbox apart from Twitch, where you can actually specify the server settings or something like that? You probably know a lot more about this than I do, to be honest. Right, So very cleverly, I put the liner and all the grass working equipment on the other side of the farm. That there really aren't any sheds on this side of South Mountain Creamery Farm anyway. So I'm just heading back over to pick up the liner. I was sitting in a shed, preferably without running anybody over. Oh god, that was close. Right, here we are. There's the liner. Alright. If I remember rightly, it was a really tight fit getting it into the shed, so I just want to be a bit careful as I pull out, because I don't want things bouncing off the edge of the shed here. Oh, like a capture card for Xbox to YouTube. Alright, okay, so it's sort of almost like you're actually casting the video or the TV signal to something else to capture it. And then you can stream it to YouTube rather than streaming it directly from the Xbox like you do. I think when you're doing Twitch on Xbox, I think you just stream directly from the Xbox, if I'm not much mistaken. Yeah. But obviously if you want to do YouTube, then that's not much help, frankly. Oops, sorry, I'm on ×3 movement speed there for a second, because I've got creator tools, still didn't take it off for the live stream, so every time I've got a little bit of silly key mapping. Every time I attach to PTO, I also increase my movement speed, and when I then detach the equipment, then I go back to normal speed. But here we go. Should be all sorted now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think, but in terms of FS19, it's looking really good. But one of the things that I'm gonna really struggle with is sort of the lack of seasons, to be honest. I don't know. I was kind of secretly hoping that was going to be there. I recognize why they haven't been able to incorporate it, and that it does add a lot of complexity, but for me it's just been, it was the seminal mod in, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of 17. There really wasn't any other mod that got anywhere close to it in terms of being able to just lift and change the game to the same level. I have just enjoyed Seasons so much. It's been the one thing that I always thought was missing from Farming Simulator. I think one year they even did it as an April's Fool thing, where they did say that they were going to put seasonality into Farming Simulator, but it turns out just to be an April's Fool. That was one of those that I actually went for hook, line and sinker, hoping they would be true. So yeah. Anyway, I hope everybody's well. It's Friday night, almost midnight here, if you're in the UK. If you're somewhere else in the world, hopefully you're getting close to the weekend as well, or well into it already. And we'll keep farming for a little while longer, at least. Shouldn't be an issue. My biggest job tomorrow is to make sure my son makes it to his judo class. That's not till 11, so I'm pretty sure I can manage that. It's a rare treat to not have a whole program of stuff to do first. Oh yes, hello secret person number 2, whoever. So just gonna send it and someone else. Yeah, it's all good. Not everybody likes to or wants to take part in the chat necessarily. That's okay. Oh no, I've hit the fence. We're stuck. Snagged it. Ah no, it's not very professional looking, is it? Oh dear. What a mess. What a mess. See if we can get clear of that now. There we go. Just pretend that never happened. And then go down here. I really should have done a better GPS offset before I started this, but yeah, famous last words, best intentions, all those kind of things. So how is the stream for you guys? I understand it's choppy, but are you getting a sort of at least half decent feed out of this, or is it really stuttery? I should do a bailing criticizer. Yeah. Okay, well, you know, never say never. Is that what your, so is that one of your favorite maps, or? Oh god, I can't believe I've done that again. No. Right. Fences, fences, fences. Just jump out of cab view, to be honest, so we can actually make sure that this doesn't repeat itself too much. Because otherwise it's just gonna get silly. I have to admit, I haven't played Belling Creek a huge amount. I did try it out. I kind of got hooked on West Coast fairly quickly, and I paid that for a really long time. And then I did a few different maps for a little while. I didn't really do any recording of this stuff. And then I played Lone Oak for a while, and I actually really enjoyed that. And I wanted to try another sort of American style map, but that still had a little bit of variety in it. And I gotta admit, South Mountain Creamery has been a really nice map to be doing this series on, especially because it was possible to do some logging, and but without it just being sort of a flat field of trees that you have to cut your way through. Yeah, I mean, I didn't used to like the American maps hugely either. I didn't really like things like Welker or Westbridge or American Outback, that kind of stuff. I just found it sort of a bit too much of basically, yay, now I can just use the oh no, I hired a worker instead of turning the GPS on, sorry. There we go. And then I'll help if I also actually, wow, I'm on a roll now. Yeah, so so I do like the small maps where you kind of gotta navigate around as well. But I really liked Lone Oak for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, to be honest, because it is more of an American style map, but it still just kind of felt nice. Maybe it was just actually after a long period of sort of playing heavily British style maps, I maybe enjoyed trying out different kinds of machinery and stuff like that. So from that perspective, maybe it was just a change that was welcome. But yeah, generally speaking, I tend to like the kind of UK style maps as well. I really like West Coast a lot, so Oh wow, 55 hours. That is a fair old chunk on a single map. I think on South Mountain now, because I spent so, although I have creator tools and all that stuff, the recordings that I've been doing has been kind of interluded between real play. So I think I've got about 72 hours on this map now, sort of into year 2, because, well, cut down more than 400 trees on the map down in one of the forests, and that took a while to do. Yeah, doing the fields like this, even though I use GPS, I'm still sitting in the tractor and doing it. I don't just hire workers. Occasionally I will hire workers, of course, as well. But yeah, okay. Maybe I should do one on Bale Creek Estate then. Maybe I should try that out more seriously, actually. I'd be willing to give that a shot. I'll be honest and say I'm obviously gonna get FS19 shot as well. See what kind of maps comes out for that. But I'm not saying I'm gonna exclusively stick to 19, because if it takes a while before things like GPS and seasons come to it, from what I've seen now, right now, gameplay wise, there's some really interesting features, but yeah, and there are some better, slightly better looking graphics, but it's not like it's, I don't know, it's not like a complete game changer in terms of that. I've heard a few of the streamers actually going, so yeah, it kind of looks the same with slightly better lighting. That's okay for me, because I'm just excited about the new features in 19 instead. Really like the idea of the weeds coming back in. Do you know if there's any plan to do the estate for 19? Who made it? I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. Who was the map maker for Valkyrie? That's alright. I mean, obviously you kind of got those big modders now that are churning out maps of really spectacular quality and stuff like that. There's like a fairly tight-knit group of them now that's doing an amazing job and really got this kind of tied down to a fine art, and it's great to see. Especially, I don't know if any of you hang around on FS UK as well. I'm not a super active participant in there because I am not an expert on modding. I tried to start creating a map at one point because I have done 3D stuff before, and it was okay in terms of getting it started, but oh my god, the amount of hours you have to put in to start making it look decent, it was just wild. I got like one little corner of a map with a couple of houses and a machine hall made to a quality that I felt I was happy with, but realizing how big a map suddenly is when you try and do that, yeah, it's an astounding number of hours that these guys put into these things. And well, between actually playing FS17 and holding down job and family and stuff like that, I as much as I would think it would be fun to do, I just couldn't see myself actually finding the time to really do it and do it properly, because I do prefer that if I'm gonna do something, I want to make sure I do it reasonably well or properly, to the extent that I can at least. And if I was going to make a map, I would probably set the bar ridiculously high for myself right away, and it would take me it's like the entire development cycle until the next version of Farming Simulator to actually finish a map. So yeah, that's not really on the cards for me. So how long have you been playing? Just gonna send it. What version of Farming Simulator did you come in on? Did you begin with 15, or was it earlier than that? $13. Cool. That is, well, technically speaking, I started on 11, but we actually only had 11 for a couple of months before 13 came out. So to be brutally honest, the sort of main game experience for me probably started on 13 as well. Okay, 13 on console I did not have. I played it on PC. I played 13, 15 and 17 on PC mainly, but we do have 17 on console as well. But I never tried 13 or 15 actually on the console, so from that perspective it was it's mainly been a PC game for me. That I know also means that you obviously have access to different mods, but I've been really encouraged to see how much of the 17 mods have made it onto the consoles. I know there's been issues with scripting and stuff like that for some mods, but to be honest, quite an impressive amount of them have actually made it onto the mod hub in the long run. And I hope that will stay the course for 19, if not evenly increase. I mean, in the ideal world, I would like to be able to see people on whatever console or PC being able to play multiplayer together, because I mean, I'm actually using an Xbox controller when I play Farming Simulator on a PC. So my main benefits is graphics adjustments and the ability to install slightly different mods, but still here maybe is that I somehow doubt that that Daggerwin would be lurking any streams. I think he's been quite busy doing his own live streams of FS19. So, but whoever the second person is, you're very, very welcome on the stream, and you don't have to be somebody famous to say hello either, if you feel like it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to admit, I'm in awe of some of the streamers that I do see streamers and recorders like Daggerwin, for example, and Virtual Farmer. The amount of content that they're able to put out is just mind-boggling. As much as I enjoy creating content, next to doing your everyday life and full-time job and stuff like that, that is a huge amount of work if you go do it with that frequency every single day. I really take my hat off for that. I enjoy doing it. You've been studying this case for 40 years now. Wait, was it in the library? With the dagger, or welcome to South Mountain Creamery, Cluedo. That might make for an interesting modded map. was thinking for FS19 it would be really cool if somebody made a map just of a racetrack for horses. At some point, I'm sure it'll come, but I thought it'd be a neat idea. Imagine being able to kind of just bring into multiplayer, you know, a handful of players with sort of owning a little corner outside of the race course each, where they can place their horses and train them and stuff like that, and then you can run races at different times. Yeah. 1.2 billion pound office. That sounds pretty neat. That sounds more like a research facility or a bank or something like that, rather than where somebody streams from, maybe. Right, here we go. We are doing the last strip of lining here now. Then, ooh, am I picking up? Okay, so I'm actually piling up the outer line there, bringing it together with the last bit of straw. No, more like a shed from B&Q. Yeah, I'm sitting in. We live in a cottage, and my office, very much in inverted commas, is sort of the back end of the dining room at the same time. So I'll definitely not be streaming while the family's having dinner, that's for sure. Here we go. We have lines. Now we need to create some bales, don't we? So I would be tempted to change over to the Fendt 900 for the baler. I think the 700 can pull the baler as well without too much trouble. Actually, I think we'll stick with the 700 because it's easier to drop off the liner and the tether here in the field. So that at a later stage we can finish off the last bits of the field here. We have another grass field to finish at some point, but I don't think that's going to be tonight. I can show you on a map for a second. So we are right there on the edge of field 42. Just north of there, I own field 34, and that's all grass as well. Then 28 and 27 south of here are the two wheat fields, and then 26 I put to corn. That's just been done recently. 30 is a corner field right next to the farm. That one actually is full of greenhouses instead. Oh, sorry, just hit the would I consider Balling Creek? Yeah, I don't see why not. I'd definitely be willing to give that a bash. What I tried to do with the series that I was recording right now was really just to find a map that I felt was nice to play, and left room for some challenges and doing sort of a bit of role play on it. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do something like that on Balling Creek as well. So in all seriousness, I will put the map back in my folder and take a look at it and see what I could kind of come up with, because I like the idea of doing it a little bit as a kind of role play type situation, not you know, I'm not trying to sort of imitate Latin Farm Daggerwin, he's got that down to a T, but I like the idea of there being sort of a situation around it. Anyway, so as I spoke about before, field 30, if I just show you again here on the map, we're next to it now. That is all greenhouses. So if you haven't watched any of the recorded episodes about this map, basically filled this one with greenhouses. That's working out pretty well. That's coming in without putting any manure in. It makes about 10,500 a day, as long as you keep it topped up with water. And then what I've done as well is this field up here at the top here. Sorry, I'm running around the place now. But we've got some canola here. That's almost ready to harvest. And I've started right out at the end here. Couldn't stay away from logging after all. I've started cutting down the trees. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically cut down the trees along this row here. And then extend that field up there down closer to the greenhouses, so there's room for getting a bit more yield here, because the fields around here on South Mountain Creamery are really expensive. So yeah, but it would actually be really cool to do Ballon Creek, because that would be some very different machinery. I'd love to be able to get some Massey Fergusons out instead, perhaps. On this map I've mainly been running Fendt. I tend to sort of try and stick a little bit to whatever the map maker has put in as the dealership. I know the dealership, obviously, you know, you can get whatever brand, but if the flags outright are suggesting that everything's a New Holland store, then I try to sort of go for that, for a little bit of immersion. You know, you would have that in real life, that in certain areas you have certain types of dealerships that gives you better prices on some of the types of machinery or brands. Yeah, and I just kind of like to try and sometimes stick with that. So actually here on South Mountain, the whole dealership is pretty much plastered up in Fendt flags, which seems a bit odd given that it's an American map, and my impression was that Fendt is mainly a European brand, that it's mainly Challenger on the other side of the Atlantic. But that, I guess, is a detail that I'm not 100% sure about or familiar with necessarily. Right, we're clear of pedestrians. Get back over to the field and get some baling done. It is a square baler I'm using, just easier for stacking everything, really. I haven't enabled the variable density mod on this map, but I kind of actually liked it, because that means the square bales are 6,000 liters and the round bales are 4,000 liters, which frankly does make a bit more sense. The only issue with it is when you try and use the feed mixers. With a 6,000 liter bale, you start having some serious problems in creating a decent feed mix. So in reality, if you're using square bales for straw, for example, and you use variable bale density, you can't use the standard food mix anymore. Small BGA to balance. Oh yeah, and add a bit more. Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting to look at least. I'd have to sort of reacquaint myself with it on the map to even be able to say something cohesive about what I would be able to do. Sorry, I'm glitching something on my controls here right now. Lower the pickup, unfold the baler, and start it up as well. Why can I not start? You know why? That's because I haven't attached the PTO. There we go. Yay! Welcome to the Pro Farmer stream, where nothing seems to be going quite according to plan, but we're getting there. Are you sure you still want me to do a series about Balin, Craig? No, I'm just kidding. I would actually really like to take a look at the map. My only downside is my job sometimes requires me to travel a bit as well, and I've got a whole pile of that coming up right now. Actually, right on top of FS19 release as well. So for the next 3 weeks, I am away for about 3 or 4 days of each and every week, which makes it pretty hard to keep up with making content, recording and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to look at it. Just means it might take a little bit longer than anything else. Yep, there we go. It's actually made some really big swaths on this map. Tractors having to kind of climb over it. We're spitting bales out at a rate or not still, so I guess that's good. Just gonna lift the pickup and head around back here. Start that line again here. I gotta say, I'm quite pleased with the yield on this field. The rate that the bales are coming out at is quite phenomenal, actually. That makes me quite hopeful that doing these 2 grass fields in summer for hay might be enough. And then after that, should be able to just cut silage in the autumn and keep it at that. Oh, no worries. Just gonna send it. Happy that you're hopefully enjoying the stream. That's all. And at least with an iPad, you'll be able to recline comfortably somewhere and watch it. I hope. Leo, okay. I'll call you Leo instead. I thought, did you change your name? If I recall rightly, when I chatted to you on Virtual Farmer stream, your YouTube tag was something Leo, was it? I could be wrong. Oh, right, MC Massey, yeah, that's right. Cool. But I guess if you are gonna be streaming on YouTube about Forza and Motorsport, maybe Massey. If you're gonna do like a pure farming channel, then that would be a good name. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really thought hugely about mine. Overcord gaming is just a gamer tag that I've had for a very long time by now. It started out way back in the days when I was playing Day of Defeat, and which is sort of similar to Counter-Strike, team-based. Don't know if anybody's ever played it. It was good fun, and but at the time I kind of had to come up with a gamer tag, and I can't even remember. There was one of the games that made suggestions automatically for you, and it suggested Overcord. Because obviously the name Overlord would have been taken on virtually every game server in the world at the time anyway. So I thought it was a kind of fun take on it. Sounds like, but not quite really, and that probably also reflected my gaming quality at the same time. Not quite Overlord. Yes, good sensible names for gamer tags is becoming increasingly difficult to come up with, and yeah, it seems they're always taken every time you go somewhere, and you just come up with increasingly desperate and random names instead. But then sometimes some of the names that, you know, I don't know, if somebody tried to introduce it straight away, you might think it sounded ridiculous or silly or something like that. But over time, they just kind of become household names as well, don't they? Simply because they become quite big on YouTube, and actually people start talking about them and stuff like that. But to begin with, it might actually just I don't know, sounded a bit silly or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are branding experts out there who, for a small fee, would give you consultancy and advice on picking the right name for increasing your channel's chances of attracting viewers or something like that. God knows. This whole thing is kind of growing into an industry. Yeah, so yeah, Daggerwin's kind of, I guess, an example of that, isn't it? You know, it's not a name you would have initially thought sounded like, that must be a guy that plays Farming Simulator. And I guess maybe it was just his old gamer tag as well. Yeah, I don't know his real name or anything like that. I think I saw a video once where he was doing something on a garden tractor or something like that. That was supposed to be a face reveal, but I didn't really see anything. But it's like lots of these channels where, you know, suddenly it becomes interesting who the person behind the channel is, but only once enough people start watching it and stuff like that. Here in the house we watch quite a bit of a YouTube channel called Neebs Gaming as well, but that's like a group of people that play together, and that's just hilarious. They don't play things like Farming Simulator. They play 7 Days to Die and Conan and Fallout and GTA and things like that, and Scrap Mechanic, and it's really good fun, but mainly because of the team dynamic. But you know, there was a huge emphasis over a period to get face reveals. You know, oh, once you get to so many hundreds of thousands of followers, you do a face reveal and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. To be honest, sometimes I think it almost ruins the illusion when you see the people behind it instead. You've gotten used to the people behind the microphone and their style of creating content and stuff like that. I guess it's a little bit like sometimes when you see people that you've been used to listening to on the radio, and when you then see them, you kind of go, oh, that's not at all what I thought they looked like. I think it's a little bit the same sometimes with people behind YouTube, unless it's the people who are also green screen and cast like that instead. That is a lot of bales, actually. It's coming out of this field. I'm just looking down on it. Whoa, and almost missing the swath now, but actually I'm just going to stop for a second and have a look. Because, wow, that's a good yield. I'm really happy with that. I'm even starting to wonder how much, whether we actually got space to store all this stuff. I'm sure we'll find some space somewhere, but there's actually quite a lot here. But to be honest, looking at the time, once I finish these last few lines of baling, although I guess technically speaking I really ought to pick them up and anything like that, but I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream by the time we get to the finishing of the baling. Sorry to disappoint anybody, but I guess it's getting reasonably late here. I got a young man that'll be bouncing on my bed tomorrow morning, not caring about whether his dad's been up streaming half the night or not. So I'm probably gonna call it a wrap in sort of 5 to 10 minutes tops. Although I will have to make another round up this side to catch, because there's a whole line left there as well, so it's a little bit still to go. I hope the quality has been at least bearable. I'm acutely aware it hasn't been fantastic. Stream health has generally been showing as a sort of amber level here, which isn't great. Of course, I would love it to be green all the time. It's occasionally even dipped into the red. I will have to read up a little bit more, perhaps, about how to optimize OBS streaming for YouTube. Like I say, this is first time ever streaming to YouTube, so thank you for bearing with it at least. I do promise you, Leo, I will definitely look at Ballincree. In fact, tomorrow I am gonna go and hold that map back out of my kind of mod archive folder and have a look at it and have a little think about it. So if I do another live stream or something like that, I'll be able to let you know. I'll try and come up with some ideas, because I want there to be a story associated with it, but I think that's very, very doable with that map as well. I just need to sort of re-familiarize myself a little bit with it so that I get it done. No harassment at all. Seriously, if I thought it was the lamest or most boring idea, something I wasn't gonna do, then I would have been politely turning it down and saying, yeah, that's not really on the cards. But to be honest, I would actually really quite like to take a look at that map again. Mod archive sentence after sentence. I know. No, it's just that in order to try and avoid just ending up with several hundred mods sitting in the folder and potentially ending up causing conflicts or issues, I tend to keep the most used ones in the folder, and then I have some that I will swap in and out on a fairly regular basis, actually. And it hasn't been as big an issue in 17. It was something I got quite used to doing in 15, because you had a lot of issues, because basically in 15 you loaded all the mods every time for every map, and as a consequence you had to get a little bit more, I don't know, regulated about your mods, because it was very easy to start creating conflicts between different mods. And so from that perspective, I kind of got used to it, and I've done it a little bit still in 17. And actually, I don't know, I still think it's a reasonably sensible thing to do. Just gonna keep going and see if I can't get enough for this one more bale to finish out. There are a few dregs left in various places. Ought to be enough to get up to push that one bale out. But I think I'm kind of heading the wrong way, to be honest. Probably. Oh no, I see a strip over here. Oh, that's quite a bit. Yeah, I really enjoyed the kind of survival or role-play series that I've seen so far, as well. That's kind of what really inspired me to even start kind of creating content. That's the kind of stuff that I like, where there's a bit of a, the story or something personal, or an enthusiasm behind it. If it's a series about just how to optimize your money making on the map, then yeah, I'm less interested, to be honest. I'll go and have a look at like first look videos sometimes as well, just to get a feel for a map, whether it feel. But to be honest, more often than not, I would just download the map myself and spend the same amount of time, or a little more perhaps, looking around, just driving around the map to begin with. Having somebody else drive around for you, I guess it can be handy sometimes. Gives you a pretty good idea of what it looks like. There we go. I think we got enough now to do that and that. And let's unload the last couple here, because there is an absolute bunch of bales on this field. So, to be honest, yeah, I will definitely have a look around the map myself first, and I'll probably even, scratch down a few ideas on either on paper, at least, and at the very least in my head, about what a series like that would look like and how it would work and things like that, before starting to record it. And there's also different things you can do with the recording. I mean, one of the things I actually do enjoy is trying to edit it together afterwards to find the right balance of things like jump cuts or speed up, where you time lapse it, and finding some music that kind of fits a little bit with the map and things like that. So from that side, yeah, it takes a little bit of work, but that's part of what I think is fun. So for now, I'm gonna jump up on this bale. See, thank you very much for following my very first live stream on YouTube. I am glad that you stuck with it, because I know the quality was not fabulous. I enjoyed it very much. It was great having some company, knowing that somebody else was actually watching. So thank you, Leo, and mysterious watcher number 2 as well. And I do hope to repeat it, but I will look a little bit into whether there's something I can do from my side to perhaps improve the experience just a little bit. If there's anything I can do to either tweak the quality or the bitrate or something like that to make sure it all works a little bit better. But for now, thank you very much from Overcourt Gaming. See you again soon. Thank you.